Hello and welcome to my easy to understand guide to Tehran and media language. This video is going to be particularly relevant for you if you are studying Eduqas Media Studies A-Level, as it currently appears as a set text on that spec. The genre for this series falls into the thriller category, the subgenre being a spy thriller. And there are lots of common conventions and codes that you can see within the set episode that point towards this genre and subgenre. For example, the fact that we're seeing somebody who's an undercover agent, we're seeing elements of government and police, we're seeing lots of things about politics, we're seeing lots of real locations, but we're also seeing lots of exotic global locations that you're used to seeing in spy dramas. Lots of fast-paced action, lots of technology like hacking on computers, lots of use of things like coded language, security, CCTV style shots. All of this media language helps to make it really clear to an audience that this is going to be a spy thriller. Spy thrillers are often really entrenched in politics, so it's kind of important to understand the political context. This series really reflects the very real political conflicts between Iran and Israel. In this series, it's focused on Israel's opposition to Iran's nuclear program, and this setting of the series within a very real political conflict, it helps to add realism for an audience, and it makes it feel like something that could happen. So our main protagonist is Tamar Rabinian. She's an undercover agent, and her goal is to bring down Iran's air defences. Having a female protagonist sets this drama apart from lots of other dramas within this genre or subgenre. Most spy thrillers often have male protagonists or male heroes. The undercover agent is often male. So having a female agent as the main character makes this seem a little bit different and a bit unusual. The use of Muslim face coverings, head coverings, scarves, they help to ground this drama within Muslim culture, and they help to immediately make it fairly recognisable as to the differences between characters and cultures. The Iranian agents are dressed in these black suits, which give them this sense of authority and power. And this contrasts with the two Israeli students who at first look are dressed in quite casual clothing and then are forced to put on the headscarves and coverings. And that sets them apart, and it kind of makes it clear that they don't fit in here. They're not part of this culture. The use of camera within the episode there's a lot of handheld shots, and these fast-paced handheld shots create lots of drama and tension and this sense of action. The camera tracks characters down the plane and it makes them feel very important, but it also makes the situation feel very tense and ominous. We get lots of low angles of characters, which creates feelings of dominance and power. And then the camera actually comes down to the eye level of the Israeli students, which positions us as an audience with them and creates a feeling of empathy for them. The camera is also used to frame characters separately, perhaps from their settings, to make them feel cut off, to make them feel isolated and alone. Very loosely framed wide shots make characters feel very isolated and alone. Lots of close-ups and extreme close-ups on faces and in particular eyes are used to show the characters' fears and emotions, particularly when we can't see their whole faces due to face coverings. There's lots of enigma within the episode, which creates mystery for audiences and encourages them to watch on. We see the Iranians on the plane at first. They seem very nervous, and the man says to the woman, "Don't be afraid." And that immediately raises questions. Well, why is she afraid? Should she be afraid? What's going to happen? We see the women meeting and swapping clothes at the airport, and that's not explained straight away. So it adds this mystery. Why are they doing this? What's going on? Superimposed text sometimes comes up on the screen to give audiences context about what country or location we are in. Likewise, grainy quality footage and superimposed frames around the screen help to connote the idea of CCTV and surveillance. There's the use of several different languages within this episode, and these audio codes help to set the context. It tells us who's speaking, what country they're from, or what religion they're from, what culture that we are currently set in. But it also creates enigma and mystery, and it creates drama, because when people speak different languages, they might not understand each other, and this can create misunderstandings, especially when we as an audience either can or can't see the meaning of what they're saying in subtitles. Some of the characters speak English, some of the characters speak Hebrew, and some of the characters are speaking Farsi, which is Persian. The use of different languages adds to this feeling of this being a kind of global spy thriller, but it also adds realism as well, because people do speak different languages, especially at airports. The non-diegetic music adds feelings of tension and excitement, and it helps to ramp up the drama at certain points of the narrative. And there's a use of Iranian instruments as well in some of this non-diegetic music, and that helps to add to the global context. The narrative goes straight into the drama at the beginning of the episode. We know something is going to go wrong almost instantly, and that hooks audiences into the rest of the episode and the rest of the series. It makes certain scenes very shocking. You know, we see people staring at hanging bodies, and that adds to this sense of utter shock for audiences, as well as the shock for the characters. It makes this feel like a very violent place, somewhere that is very dangerous. There's very clear binary opposition within the episode, primarily the opposites between the Iranians and the Israelis. And as an audience, we are very clearly positioned with the Israelis. And the binary oppositions are communicated through a variety of things. I mean, look at the costumes, for example, the casual clothing of the Israeli students. It's much more colourful. They've got technology. They're quite westernized in their language. And then we kind of cut to the Iranian people on the plane. They're wearing much more kind of covered up cultural clothing, much duller, much more use of black colours, serious facial expressions. And the Iranian officers we see later on, again, dark black suits, very serious facial expressions. It creates very clear binary opposition between the two cultures. And during the interview in the airport, we get that shot, reverse shot, to emphasise those cultural differences. Lots of cultural codes in the setting to really help audiences understand where we are, and to create this feeling of this place being other, not Western, as being more kind of exotic. So for example, we see the markets, the kind of array of foods, some of which are very different to the foods we might encounter in Britain. We see lots of political and religious iconography, lots of signage with different language on it, flags, for example, as well. And all of this helps to set the scene and encourage audiences to realise that we're in a very different place and a very different culture to perhaps what many audiences, particularly British audiences, might be used to. When we see the kind of government agents who are, I guess, in control of these spies and undercover agents, there's the use of colour. For example, it's very blue, very cold, desaturated colour grading, very utilitarian costumes and mise-en-scène, lots of technology. It makes it feel very modern, and it's a big contrast to the shots we see outside, the warm coloured streets, the homes. So it emphasises the very clear difference and the sort of segregation between these two different types of people. Obviously, the end of an episode is where it tends to get the most dramatic, because they want to end on a very dramatic cliffhanger normally to hook you in to watch the rest of the series. And this episode is no different. It's very fast paced, the pace ramps up, stuff starts cutting much quicker, which adds to this feeling of tension and drama. We get lots of very quick tracking in or zooming in on faces, which adds to this sense that they are very fearful and they're in danger. There's lots of the use of the colour red in the corridor, the red lighting, and that adds to this sense of danger. We see this very violent ending where the woman is attacked, there's an attempted sexual assault, there's a fight, and she then pushes him down the stairs. It's very exciting, very dramatic, and clearly ends on that kind of cliffhanger enigma code of we need to watch the rest of the series to now find out what's going to happen to her. And this is a very common way of drawing audiences into the rest of the series. So that was my easy to understand guide to media language in Tehran. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for other videos that are going to be relevant for you. And if you would like a video that I don't already have, leave a little comment below and I'll see what I can do.